They called him the king, but behind the charming smile, the square jaw, and the legendary roles was a man haunted by tragedy, tormented by secrets, and surrounded by whispers Hollywood dared not speak aloud. This is not the Clark Gable you met on screen. This is the secret life of the King of Hollywood. 1. The Lost Boy from Ohio. Clark Gable's story didn't start on a glamorous movie set. It started in the small town of Cadiz, Ohio, where he was born into hardship. Gable's mother, a woman of great warmth, died when he was just an infant. His father, a tough and emotionally distant man, didn't know how to raise a child, especially one who was more quiet and introspective than he was. Gable was left to grow up without the maternal love most children receive, and that void would leave scars on him throughout his life. Raised with few resources, Gable was forced to work from an early age. He took on various jobs, including in a factory and as a necktie salesman, just to make ends meet. His rough and tumble childhood didn't offer much opportunity to dream of Hollywood stardom, but Gable had a dream that was impossible to ignore. He began acting on the local stage where he honed his craft, but the idea of Hollywood fame seemed far out of reach. As Gable grew older, the isolation of his early life stuck with him. The boy who had learned to survive in a harsh world would soon face an even harsher world of fame, one filled with rumors, betrayal, and a constant battle for relevance. His childhood experiences would shape the man who would become the most famous actor of his time. But they also set the stage for the many personal struggles he'd never escape. 2. From factory floors to fame. Clark Gable's journey from an unremarkable factory worker to the King of Hollywood was a path paved with obstacles, rejection, and tenacity. When he first arrived in Hollywood, he was far from the studio executive's idea of a leading man. In fact, many dismissed him for his unconventional looks. He wasn't tall enough or handsome enough by traditional standards. Gable was rough around the edges with a thick Midwestern accent and a demeanor that made him seem out of place among the polished Hollywood elite. But there was something undeniable about Gable, something raw, powerful, and magnetic. His first break came when he was cast in small roles in westerns, but it was his appearance in It Happened One Night, 1934, that truly changed the course of his career. His on-screen charisma was undeniable, and audiences fell in love with the charming, roguish figure who seemed as though he could do anything. By the time he starred in Gone with the Wind, 1939, Gable had solidified his place as one of the most iconic figures in Hollywood. However, with fame came the toll of constant scrutiny. The pressures of Hollywood stardom began to take a personal toll on Gable, pushing him into a whirlwind of public scrutiny and private battles. As his career soared, so did the rumors, tales of his temper, his struggles with alcohol, and the tensions that grew as he tried to maintain his place atop Hollywood's pedestal. Despite the hurdles, Gable managed to become a larger-than-life figure, a symbol of strength and masculinity. But even at the height of his fame, he was haunted by the shadow of his past and a deep sense of loneliness that never left him. Number 3. Love, lies, and Hollywood affairs. Married 5 times, rumored affairs with co-stars, but only one woman truly broke through his armor: Carole Lombard. They were Hollywood's golden couple, wild, witty, and madly in love. But before Carole, there were whispers. His first wife was 17 years older, an acting coach who molded him. Some said she created Clark Gable, then got discarded. Others whispered about affairs with powerful men and women in Hollywood. In a town built on fantasy, his love life blurred into scandal. 4. The tragedy that broke him. January 1942. Carole Lombard boarded a plane to return to Gable after promoting war bonds. The plane crashed into a Nevada mountain. No survivors. Gable was shattered. He drank heavily, enlisted in the Air Force, threw himself into danger. Some say he wanted to die. Others say he stopped caring whether he lived. He was never the same again. Behind every laugh, every iconic line, there was grief that never healed. 5. The secrets buried with the king. Kapanefabayawuk knew he had a daughter. Born out of a brief affair with actress Loretta Young, hidden for decades. Judy Lewis, the child, only learned the truth as an adult, and Gable never acknowledged her publicly. He died in 1960 after filming The Misfits, a film that mirrored his own fading era. A lonely man among ghosts of a golden age. Even in death, his image remained pristine. But the truth, it stayed locked behind closed doors. old studio contracts, and silent hearts.